Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Whoo! So I'm doing my own theme music until my daughter writes it for me. And welcome to Radical Change Leadership. My name is Vonda Page, and I am your host. I am super excited to welcome 2025, and in 2025 to have two podcasts, Radical Change Leadership and Manage Radical Change, both of which are designed to support your growth, your empowerment, your road to results. And when I think about leadership, there's so many things that are critical to me. The first is that I really believe to be a leader, you have to be an ACE. And ACE stands for authentic, curious, and empathetic. And anybody who knows me, even a little bit, knows that those are the three qualities that I possess. Those are the three qualities that I really deeply believe helps us be and excel at a rate of consistent development, consistent growth, consistent empowerment. And for me, if you're not growing and learning and healing, you're causing way more harm in society. You're causing way more harm to yourself. And so it is one of my mission, or part of my mission, is to support people's leadership journey, their growth journey, their empowerment journey, and their transformation journey. And so to me, a leader is anybody that makes decisions for themselves or anyone else. You are a leader. And there are not a lot of resources out here for real leaders. There's a lot of resources out here for narcissists, right? There's a lot of resources out here for people who have money and power and influences. But what about the regular person? Well, the regular person needs accessibility and affordability to their own development. And that is the purpose of Radical Change Leadership, my leadership learning platform. And you can access Radical Change Leadership and have access to me by just going to the Apple Store, the Google Play Store, or downloading it from the web, and we can connect there. That is where I do. That's where I do my one-on-one coaching. That's where I do my organizational and small group mentoring. That's where I do consulting. That is where I organize and run my life, meet with my clients, teach classes, record content, do brainstorm sessions, run conferences for folks, etc., whole working sessions. And it is an amazing place to grow and learn. And it's also an amazing platform when you are ready to build community. So with that being said, let's get started on today's episode of Radical Change Leadership. What we're going to focus on today, first and foremost, is I want to ask the question around the concept of leadership really being a personal choice as well as an internal journey. So first thing I want to do is I want to know if how you understand that leadership starts from within. Like, can you even imagine that? And how your own personal empowerment can transform toxic dynamics. A lot of times, right, people think that the power dynamic that they share with another person dictates the outcome. And a lot of times it is because of the way that narcissism is viewed and accepted in our society, and the way that people who get to be in charge, who get to be in power, wield that power and wield it for selfish reasons. Because they have shame, because they have pain, because they have guilt, because they have inner turmoil. And it's so, so toxic. And what I want y'all to do today is reflect on your own leadership. But I want you to reflect on it from a potential standpoint. A leader, first and foremost, is anybody who makes decisions for themselves or others. And so if you're deciding every day, these are the classes I'm going to take, this is the time I'm going to catch the bus, this is going to be how I take care of myself, this is going to be how I do whatever, you have a responsibility to continually grow, heal, and learn. You have a responsibility not to do the same thing today that you did yesterday. You have a responsibility to grow. And I want to encourage you to acknowledge why, while you might have some challenge on the outside, that does not mean that you can't continue to grow and heal. So let's talk about what narcissism looks like in the office, right? So if you have a narcissistic boss, what it looks like is as long as you are making them happy, as long as you're making them look good, as long as you are, what do we used to say, brown nosing, so to speak, everything is fine. But the second you hold them accountable or ask them to, give some sort of responsible response to something, everything gets different and everything turns around. You have a colleague who is always passing their work off on other people, and you don't realize how it keeps happening over and over. You have another colleague who they always get an extra day at the holiday, and you end up getting stuck doing their work. Then you may have, a kid at home who, every time you ask them to clean their room or take out the trash, they have a complete meltdown. So you just give up and give them the iPad. There are so many opportunities, right, that we all have to make a difference in our own lives and therefore impact those around us. But all of those opportunities start within. All of those opportunities start within. And so that's what I want to talk about. And so when you think about the way toxic relationships and internal toxic relationships and external situations have the ability to impact your internal power, right? If we see that our coworker is slacking, we might pick up the work just because we don't want the whole team to look bad. If we know that our boss is really incompetent, but everybody likes him, and he has a son at home that's disabled, we might, cover up for them because, we feel sorry for them. Well, we feel sorry for them because they manipulated us into feel sorry for them. If this person has more power than us, despite what they have going on at home, we all deserve to be, treated fairly, humanely, with dignity and respect, period, right? Or, we found out that our coworker, grew up in a abusive or neglectful childhood. And so, she uses that every time so that she can get 2-3 days extra off from work, where everybody else is taking off the slack for her because nobody says, oh, hey, she's out of the office. So it can take these different forms. And when it takes these different forms, it may or may not be as easy to identify or to see, right? So what might happen is we might hand over our power as opposed to navigating the situation. Now, I'm not going to say that it's easy to navigate narcissism because it's something I've been practicing for more than 50 years. And every, year, about 2 or 3 times a year, I realize that I have encountered another narcissist. And, I do some reevaluations with different relationships in my life and with people. And I do different growth activities and learning exercises to continually develop, to continually grow, to continually transform. And so over the past couple years, I've been studying narcissism. And one of the things that's tricky about it is really not until you can see the patterns in a person till you really notice it. But you're not going to see the patterns if you're not paying attention, and you're not going to see the patterns if you're not self-aware, because the patterns that you see in the narcissist are also going to be patterns that you see in yourself. So for me, for example, I have wounds from childhood that are about abandonment, and I have a lot of emotional neglect. So it's easy for me to get in a relationship with a narcissist because I'm a vulnerable person who, shares a little bit, right? So for me, in the past, right, I have had people mirror me like so well and like really make me think that they get me. And then just to have them turn around and stab me in the back with the very thing that they used to, make a connection and to, bring me in closer to them. Like when I tell you that narcissism is a very deadly personality trait. I mean, toxic, we use the word toxic instead of using the word deadly. But if something is toxic, it is deadly, right? If you have too much alcohol, it's deadly. You have too much heroin, it's deadly. You have too much bleach, inhale it, it's deadly. Too much, what was that stuff? That uh, too much, too much poison is deadly, right? Too much of anything that's poisonous is deadly. And so we need to pay attention to that, and we need to operate in that from the standpoint of how we engage in toxic relationships. And so what that means is that, especially in the workplace, right, you have the ability to navigate people and situations in your own best interest. You have the responsibility to do it, because you have the responsibility to take care of yourself. You have the responsibility to focus on yourself. You have the responsibility to prioritize yourself, because if you don't, no one will. It's like when you are about to take off and the flight attendants give the detailed information about putting on your own mask before you help another person. They're serious about that. Because if you can't help yourself, you can't help nobody. And they know, okay, if this person don't have the wherewithal to put on their own mask, then they going to get us all killed up in here. And so that's why they make a really big point about telling you that. And it's really important to know that it's important, right? To know that, okay, I need to look at my goals. I need to look at my health. I need to look at my experience, right? And so leadership is taking ownership of you. It's not something that somebody gives you. It's something that you're responsible for. You have to own it. You have to have what people call agency. You have to have what Janet Jackson calls control, right? You have to do that, right? So how do we define leadership? You have to make leadership start with self-awareness. Are you a leader? Are you stepping into your leadership in full potential? And what does that look like? They say 60% of the things that we do are subconscious, that we're not aware of them. Well, if that's the case, look, are we showing up as the person we think we are? And are we working on being a better version of ourselves? Are we just going along to get along? Are we just doing the best we can? What are we doing every day to be better? Are we doing anything like journaling? Now, I know journaling is sensitive for a lot of people. I had a client one time that I had to fire and then block eventually. But I had to fire them because they would refuse to write anything down. So take no notes. Don't journal. don't do any kind of self-work in any kind of written way. And it was all because they didn't want to deal with some childhood trauma. Well, dealing with your childhood trauma is the only way to heal. And sometimes, you have to trust a little bit, at least trust yourself, that if you made it through that childhood trauma, you can make it through now and process it a little bit. You did what you had to do to survive at the time. The body keeps the score, which is the only book I recommend, by the way, to people. I'm not a big, I recommend this book, that book, this book, because people use books as an escape, and then they don't apply the knowledge that they learn in books. People use books as a distraction, and they don't apply the knowledge. If you really gonna buy a book and take action on a book, you would start taking action the second you read the book. You starting to do the stuff. You snapping pictures. You taking notes. You ain't just buying a book and whatever. So a lot of people aren't ready to do the work of healing, and that's fine. I do the work with people who are ready. Period. End of story. That's one of the great things I love about the platform and the app is when people are ready to engage. Boom, you engage. I'm here. Period. But the idea is engaging with yourself, right? So what does engaging with yourself look like? Engaging with yourself, right, looks like journaling. So pulling out a journal and asking yourself a couple of questions. Maybe you just write down the date, and maybe you just say hi to yourself. And maybe you just start writing, if you need a specific prompt, why are you here? What makes you happy? What do you wish you had? What do you think is standing in your way of success? Right? How do you feel right at this moment? What do you want to say? What do you wish would happen? How do you want to feel? Right? Like you could ask yourself some different questions. The other thing that you can do is you can start with some affirmations. I like to do what I call ABC affirmations because I like to work in patterns. I like alliteration. So either I'm going to use all the same letter or I'm going to go down the alphabet. So I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, so, one of my earrings came out. I like to wake up and say, okay, what's on my mind, right? And so if I'm going to do ABC affirmations, I just start with the letter A. I am abundant. I am brilliant. I am compassionate. I am daring. I am empathetic. I am fabulous. I am grateful. I am helpful. I am intuitive. I am justified and justice seeking. I am kind, right? And just keep on going, right? I am loving. I am magnificent. And you could do that all day for yourself. And then you could journal on, if you do it all on one page, or you can do it page by page. The page you wrote, I am magnificent. What are all the ways that you are magnificent? Why are you magnificent? If you are fantastic, what are all the ways you are fantastic? You gotta start somewhere with getting to know you. And that's where self-awareness kicks in. Getting to know yourself, right? Getting to like yourself. Getting to trust yourself, right? So, how do we journal? How do we decide on areas that we want to improve? Well, just think about what makes you happy. How do you get more of it? How do you get more of your happy? Start writing it down. Next thing I would say is decide for yourself how you want to grow, how you want to improve. Is it personally? Is it health prioritization? Is it relationships? Is it mental, mindset, being action oriented, applying knowledge, applying wisdom? What is it? And then what I'm going to say is, when you realize, I have an internal shift to make. I have an area that I want to grow. Like, this is my year that I get into the best shape I ever been in. At the age of 56, I'm going to be better shape than I was at 26 and 16. It is an intentional goal that I'm using innovative strategies so that I can have a definite impact. And whether it comes to navigating difficult situations, difficult people, difficult circumstances, or whether it comes to enjoying life as you grow and learn and heal, it's all integral to growth. So you get to decide that you want to grow. You get to decide that you want to heal. You get to decide that you want to be a better version of the person you were yesterday, today. And then you get to act on it. You get to share what you learn with other people. You get to build on top of what you've learned and create results in your life. You know, growth is amazing because it really gives you such empowerment. Like, I've already written 3 books and I have 3 in the wings. Hopefully I can get this other one out in the next 2 weeks. But, you know, I never thought that I'd be writing numerous books. Like, it seems crazy. I didn't think of it until like 2 years ago. And, you know, I'm about to be on my 6th, but my 4th self-published book, right? Crazy, crazy, crazy. But that's what growth has fueled for me. The desire to share what I've learned so that you can learn. So the upcoming project is The Healing Parent. Because if you haven't decided to lead your life before you become a parent, you must lead your own healing as a parent. And children must learn to heal as well. And we're going to get into that. So, when it comes to radical change leadership, that desire to grow is key. That desire to navigate from victim to victor in your mindset is key. And I want to invite you to think about daily reflection. I want to invite you to think about key goal setting. I want to invite you to think about journaling. And I also want to invite you to think about affirmations, especially affirmations of gratitude, affirmations of courage, affirmations of persistence, affirmations of motivation for you. Who are you? Decide who you are and be that person. Don't let anyone define you. You define you. Radical change leadership starts from within. It starts from you deciding who you want to be and then doing intentional action, innovative ways for the impact of transformation. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for hanging out. And I'll see you next time. Don't forget to go to the App Store of your choice or Google Play and download Radical Change Leadership for your 15-minute one-on-one coaching consultation. Go to radicalchangeleadership.org for more information. to support the mission and